Hey guys, today with the topic, my ex is too stubborn to contact me again. This is such a basic fear, after all, you know them felt best and, there is simply nothing more will happen, the thing is through. What I'm telling you here is all well and good, but for others. Not for you, because your ex is a strong personality with an even stronger will, and once she has said something, she follows through. Yes. I have heard that so often. And right before I go on, very seldom this has happened. But then from my perspective, for reasons other than being stubborn. But the way you are feeling right now, with a desire but rather little hope that she will get back to you, that's just how everyone feels shortly after. You are not an isolated case, and if you have heard this from your ex or know her from your relationship, then of course that is what you believe. That's how you perceived her and the whole thing, that's how you judge her. Why do I think I know better? Here's the point. Because I am not in your situation and have to have your fears with all the thinking. Because I see this every day, and because if you think this way, you haven't grasped what it's really about and what might make your ex contact you again. So the danger of going about it completely the wrong way and thinking that you have to convince her or give up is great. It's all about commitment and assessing whether it's big enough to counter her barriers to separation. That doesn't always have to be the case, and before you start thinking that it's enough that you both think you're special, everyone thinks that of themselves too. Your ex excluded, or she wouldn't have ended it. What exactly does the breakup tell you? Right, that the attachment hasn't worked so far. But that's not a miracle, because if you permanently pay attention to something, in her case to you, because you don't manage to just be quiet and leave her alone, then the negative feeling can't creep out. As a result, you will achieve exactly what you are afraid of. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Your perception is influenced in addition. Because the time is relative. For you it passes according to the motto, something should finally happen to her, it can't take so long. For her, on the other hand, it passes differently. She has her everyday life, newly won time which she uses, not much time at all in between in which she could think of you. Maybe she is dating again and distracts herself with a new guy. All these statements like, she will realize that I am her best option, they are worth nothing if you are not really her best option, and if you sit there and wait for her to start thinking that, then it will never get that far. Because even if the attachment does kick in and she does think about contacting you, she is nowhere near that point. On the contrary, it is a huge overcoming to contact you again. This makes her vulnerable again and puts her in a position she doesn't really want to be in because she can't control it anymore. Depending on your reaction to this, it could be her who feels the way you did at the moment of the breakup, or she will not be able to get rid of you because you are now getting your hopes up again. The moment she would contact you is marked by insecurity. Both how you are in the meantime, and whether it is really what she feels. Very rarely the attraction decreases so much that they break up, and then increases again so much that they are 100% sure that this is what they want with you. It is usually more of a feeling that something is missing, and they may have made a mistake with this life-changing decision to break up. One that they would have to answer for. After all, it hurt you a lot and they put up with it all for their own good, which they don't seem to have quite understood themselves. And is it you they are missing, or is it just like most of you that you just don't feel the negative as intensely as the positive anymore? Was it really like that back then, and can it still work at all? Have you gotten the problems it had out of the way, and are you ready for a fresh start? And if, then also a new beginning with them? There is a lot of work and security that needs to come from their side, especially in the beginning, and that won't work if they can't stand behind it, at least for the most part. The message from them can also come without this security, and there you have to distinguish. But it's not an easy step, and you're not making it any better by taking it from them, because you never know exactly where they stand in life and with their opinion of you. You could get in touch with them and get a positive answer, or just get a verbal beating. Whereas even the positive answer, yes, you can never estimate how much now came from you and how much from them. This is only possible if you wait for their interest and then actively work with it by mirroring it. But this is already a step too far. Attachment and stubborn exes. You know, stubbornness, that is, not allowing other options, shows insecurity. Being closed to unknown or even unwanted options is not a frame, it is a protective mechanism that the people who use it could not explain themselves if you asked them about it. Let's assume this would be the case. If you ask such a person something like, "Why would you never take back an ex?" would come something like, "There was a reason that it broke up." I would ask the question, and if that reason didn't exist anymore? Then it usually gets quiet, or they say it's too late for that. Or someone comes from the last corner with fate. But what these answers or the silence refer to is the following: without attraction everything doesn't matter. Because you don't feel anything for the person anymore. This is not tangible or rationally explainable. Most people notice this but can't really put it into words. That it is so, yes. Why this is the case, they sometimes despair about it themselves. And people's stubbornness is worth nothing in this case. They can't control their feelings. Nobody can. Attraction and attachment are things that happen outside of our will. Of course, you can do something for it and something against it. But you do that for other reasons than to say, "Now, so we're going on a nice couple's vacation, it's good for the attachment." No, it's just nice, and sometimes we still have the memory of it almost tangible in front of us for years, and when you order a pina colada in the evening you get flashbacks to it. You can't control that, and your ex is now convinced that she has no desire for you. Now that the attraction is down, and she would defend the separation with all means. Now that her eyes are on you in the negative, or at best she has just been left alone by you. This is followed by relief, and the cover becomes smaller and smaller until it is no longer actively maintained. This is followed by everyday life, and if the attachment with you is high enough, so you had enough time and key moments together, then you will continue to be part of her life by her remembering you over and over again. And the more she tries to actively get rid of that and actively let go, the more she'll be preoccupied with you. You are out of her life and yet more present than if you continued to communicate with her. You are perceived more positively than you were around the time of the breakup. And no man is stubborn enough to contradict his feelings. That was exactly the point, it's about her feelings. She feels she has to do something, and that's why she's doing it. That was her inner strength, which in a way you admire so much, which is why you think it's the case now. What do you think she will do with it when the doubt comes whether the decision was right and you have made yourself a serious man in her eyes, which is her best option? Suddenly her stubbornness is exactly what makes her fight for you. But what I also want to give you is that working on her would actually be more important than constantly chasing her feelings like a donkey with a carrot in front of her nose. The breakup was probably inevitable, because without feelings nothing you do is worth anything anymore. Only in the time after the breakup she pursues her goals, which are worth absolutely nothing for a renewed relationship with you. She does not offer you any added value. Be careful that if she gets in touch, you don't accept someone who wants the old relationship with your version 2.0. To deserve it, she has to put more on the table, even if it's just more understanding and empathy towards you. Take care, and until the next video.